Aloha, y'all, and welcome to the 10 at 10 for December 17th of 2024. We've got some great looking trees for you today.
Y'all, we list 10 new trees at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on MrMaple.com. Guys, there's actually another 10, secret 10 in the weekly email. You can sign up for that email on MrMaple.com.
Let's get right into it. First off, we've got some giant, good-looking Emmett's Pumpkin. This is one of my favorite Acer japonicums. It's fast-growing, it's vigorous, has a blushing of orange in the spring, and immaculate orange fall color.
Yeah, it's got a really good, vigorous, upright form. Makes a beautiful tree in the landscape and garden with those big Acer japonicum leaves. Gives a lot of good texture, unique. It's really just a unique specimen in the garden with some bold orange fall color.
Consider these giant 2 gallons.
Yeah, some really good 2 gallons.
Great looking plants, guys. Grab you an Emmett's Pumpkin today. A fan favorite. Love the foliage on this one. Well established, well branched. Get that instant gratification. Grab you a 2 gallon. All right, let's bring back Vercades, Jackus, Potus.
Yeah, this is a really cool Sessilifolium selection. Matt and I got it from Dave Vercade himself. And it really has some really unique pumpkin, kind of pink oranges in the early spring. That's really special for that Sessilifolium angel feather structure.
Yeah, you can get some weird shades of pink and orange and apricot, all kinds of cool colors going on. Really unique leaf structure. Absolutely beautiful plant. I like to stake it up like this and get a good central leader growing. It tends to be a little bit more multi-stemmed if you don't. It tends to be quite vigorous if you stake it up though. I love the plant. Really a showstopper. Great pinks and reds in the fall color on this one. We're a big fan of that angel feather style foliage that's indicative of a Koshimino or Hagoromo. This being one of the most colorful forms of that. Again, once you get them staked like this, it's not uncommon for this one to put on over a foot of growth a year.
Yeah, and this gives a unique texture. Looks almost like an upright lace leaf because each lobe is deeply divided, or each lobe looks like an individual leaf. Gives a really soft feel to an upright tree. Guys, next up, we've got 1 gallons and 3 gallons of Acer Laevigatum Hong Long.
This one's fun, guys. This one's a funky plant for sure. It's an evergreen, semi-evergreen, grafted to a deciduous rootstock. These are actually grafted to palmatum. That closely related to Japanese maples. Laevigatum insection palmata. We've done a full breakdown on this. You'll definitely have to go check that out here on our channel. Really fun plant. These can be semi-evergreen here in zone 6. So for us here, they typically drop leaves very late, go into a red fall color, then leaf back out in the spring. Really crazy. This one can handle high heat conditions, but I do find you want to give it some late day shade, a little bit of protection from the hot afternoon sun. So many crazy colors though. The name means red dragon for that bright red new growth. I love the kind of translucent growth the older growth gets. It gets kind of a shiny pewter type color. You also get an amazing purplish burgundy bark going on.
Yeah, that pink purple new growth and the deep colored bark are very unique for an evergreen maple that's semi-evergreen. It has that elongated leaf that is very unlike anything maple-like that you're familiar with. And it's crazy that this is in-section palmata. It's crazy this grafts onto Acer palmatum. And y'all, we've got both 1 gallons and 3 gallons today. A rare species maple that fits in with many of your Japanese maples. Make sure you grab this one today.
It could add so many interesting textures, but also bark interest. I absolutely love this plant. This one comes from the J.C. Ralston Arboretum. Our friend Mark Weatherton actually originally wild collected this plant in the wild. He said, gosh, guys, I don't know if I should introduce it. I was like, Mark, if you don't name this one, I'm putting Mark Weathington on it and getting it out in the trade. So the Ralston came out with this name Hong Long, means red dragon. I'm so glad they went ahead and gave this official cultivar status. Kind of puts it among some rare air of the elite plants. There's some really cool cultivars that originated as wild collected plants. So they were in their original native habitat, but they had such cool characteristics, they had to become cultivars. All right, y'all, we're bringing back Cedrus deodora, Gerard's Weeping.
Yeah, so this is a Himalayan cedar that has a really nice sprawling out weeping habit. I do recommend staking this up at an early stage. That way you get some height to it and then let it just cascade and weep.
I love the colors you can get with the cedars. They're durable, they're heat tolerant. They're very great plants to have in the landscape, especially for texture. You can get some really nice bluish shades on this one as well. That weeping structure, kind of play with it. You can kind of use this one to manipulate a little bit in the garden. It's a little bit one of those plants you could definitely mold to the setting you want it in. Absolutely love that pendulous nature though, and pretty cool textures.
Yeah, whenever you think about, you know, all these heat tolerant conifers, Cedrus deodora is that. I mean, it's a very heat tolerant conifer that performs well in high heat, gives you evergreen interest, and a unique sort of needle and a unique structure. The Himalayan cedars, they're outstanding. Make sure you give them plenty of good drainage. If you overwater them, you know, you can kill them just like you could with any conifer or any maple.
They look so good with Japanese maples though, it makes a perfect pairing. All right guys, we're back at you with the first Ghost. If you don't have a part of the Ghost series, this could be your first one.
Could be your second. First Ghost is a reticulated
Could be your
style
ninth.
with a really nice purple border in the early spring. Gives you some good white, creamy colors. It has a nice semi-pendulous habit where you see the branches go up and then they arch outward. That just gives a really unique structure out there in the landscape and garden. Y'all, First Ghost, amazing selection.
This one has white to kind of lime green reticulation going on in the middle. Early spring has a little bit of a purple border to it. It's actually the symbol for Buckholz Nursery, so you know Talon Buckholz loves First Ghost. Absolutely love this plant. Durable, works zones 5 through 9. We've actually had great reports of how much sun this tree can handle in zone 8, especially once established. Absolutely love it. Showstopper for the colors. We've got yellows to oranges typically going on in the fall for this one as well.
Yeah, beautiful selection all the way around. Morning sun, afternoon shade will hold its reticulation longer throughout the season. To give you the best border interest to this as well. Avoid high amounts of nitrogen, and you're going to get the best out of your variegated Japanese maples. Guys, coming back to Mr. Maple, in 1 gallons, we've got Twombly's Red Sentinel.
Probably our most popular columnar Japanese maple. We do offer Tsukasa Silhouette a lot as well. Twombly's is great for being a narrow growing upright red. This was a broom found by Ken Twombly that has that crazy deep red color that you love about something like Fire Glow, but in a more narrow structure.
Now, cherry red in the spring, maroon during the summer, and a bright fire engine red in the fall. This thing is a flagpole of color out there in the landscape. It's really easy to use because of its verticality. It gives that vertical interest very easily, but it also doesn't take a lot of width, so it doesn't provide a lot of shade, and it doesn't block a lot of views. So it's a fun tree to really put out in the garden to give unique texture, unique verticality, and some great color.
It's got a good vertical too. This one is awesome, guys. Typically about a foot of growth a year on this one. Again, not a lot of width though. Very narrow in its structure. You have that shortened center node. Absolutely a great plant. This one is another one that does great in sun up to zone 8. Gonna work zones 5 through 9, but we find that this one does great even in like Atlanta, Georgia, and some sun. Making it one of the quintessential, more narrow Japanese maples you can have for the landscape. All right, guys, we are bringing back another Talon Buckholz introduction. We had the original one of these there in the Floral Wonder Arboretum at Buckholz Nursery. Guys, one of Talon's favorite lace leaves, Spring Delight.
Now in the early spring, this has a purple nail border in the early spring, giving you a really nice interest in that spring garden. It's one of those trees that has a lot more width to it than it does height, so it spreads out and arches outward, making a very beautiful lace leaf for the garden.
It will spring into your garden this spring and be a delight to look at. You're gonna love Spring Delight for the delight that it brings in the springtime. It's amazing, guys. Typically about 4 feet tall, but about 5 feet wide. Talon absolutely loves this one. It was a seedling from Waterfall or Veritas, whichever one you want to call it, both the same plant, but it had that more interesting border to it, really defined border to it. Great golden yellows to orange in the fall as well. I remember seeing this tree, first time I ever saw this plant was actually a wonderful specimen that Tom Cox had gotten from Talon Buckholz. Such a cool plant, part of the Floral Wonder collection from Buckholz Nursery. Spring Delight, grab you one today. Awesome tree for a container plant as well. You can kind of put this out there. You can get so many different interests from that border to the green midsummer, to the golden yellows in the fall. Kind of has something a little bit different for you every single season. That border really adds a lot to that green lace leaf though. All right, y'all, let's drop another Buckholz classic. Talon's wife's favorite tree. We always throw that one out there. I mean, if it's your wife's favorite tree, our wives are our biggest critics, right? Like, should you name that one? I don't know about this one, right? I don't know, but Bronze Age, Talon Buckholz wife's all-time favorite introduction by him. Gotta love it. Amazing tree, so many different interests to it. I love that pinkish new growth over top of the bronzing in the spring, but that golden yellow fall color really sets this one apart for Acer Shirasolemns.
It also has a deeply divided leaf that's more divided than many of the other Acer Shirasolemns, giving it a unique dramatic effect because it's very wide, spreading because of all of its lobes, being a full moon maple, but it's deeply divided. The bronze color sets us apart, that fall color. It's one of our employees' favorite trees as well, because when you see this tree in the fall color, it's captivating. It's gonna be a tree that'll be captivating in your garden.
It's high drama, it's dramatic, but it's easy to grow. This one's simple. Early morning sun, late day shade's ideal. I love this one to pair with Sunny and Moonrise. I think those are perfect pairings to add some different color and texture throughout the season. Absolutely love Bronze Age. It's one of my favorite Shirasolemns. Likely a hybrid with Palmatum, making it a little bit more sun resistant than many of the Acer Shirasolemns. Tends to put on about a foot of growth a year. Does slow down in that 6 to 8 foot range a good bit. Absolutely love this plant. If you haven't got Bronze Age yet, definitely check it out today on MrMaple.com. It is a showstopper for the color.
Bronze Age, it's one for the ages, the Bronze Ages.
All right, y'all, for the 10 at 10, we're going to be bringing back Acer Palmatum Calico.
Yeah, the last set sold out, And we got another set that came in just recently, so I wanted to drop it for y'all who are looking for the calico. Calico is one of those trees that gives you some nice spring interest in the early spring, some nice kind of coral pinks. Give you some really nice, just brighter greens out there in the landscape, but when the fall color hits, it's just outstanding.
I love when spring interest trees have spring interest. This one is my favorite in the fall though, guys. I love that kind of calico color it gets in the fall. You get just a ton of different colors all going on at once in this calico tree.
It's a good mid-sized tree, reaching about 8 to 10 feet in height with that calico of fall colors. Guys, next up, we've got some nice 2 gallons of Ace Palmatum Oregon Sunset, one of our top most underrated trees. If you check out our most recent podcast, one of our most recent podcasts on our top 20 underrated Japanese maples.
This tree's underrated for being underrated. It could be higher up on a most underrated list than it was. I absolutely love it. Oregon Sunset, you don't even have to be in Oregon to grow this one. For a while, I didn't have one in my garden because I thought you actually had to be in Oregon. You don't. You can grow this one anywhere in the United States, zones 5 through 9. This is probably one of the most underrated trees for the shape, guys. I love the structure of this one. It makes a unique shape that's pretty, honestly, unique only to Oregon Sunset. You get this kind of upright arching habit, and it kind of plateaus out. So you kind of notice this one in a garden right away. Deep maroons, goes to a green midsummer. Guys, the fall color is insane on this one. That's really where the sunset comes in. It's not uncommon for it to be red and orange at the same time, kind of giving you a sunset-esque kind of appearance. Absolutely love this plant. It is underrated. I think a lot of people don't know how unique the shape is on this one. It's kind of a U-shape upright. So you get that low branching up, but then kind of a plateau on top of it. Once you know this plant, whenever you go to a garden and you see one, even from a distance, you're gonna know exactly what you're looking at.
And you can see that on these 2 gallons right now. You see a lot of these branches sort of growing horizontal, but still upwards. And that just gives you that unique sort of bonsai-esque look out there in the landscape that doesn't require a lot of pruning, but you can definitely prune to accentuate its shape. Y'all, it's gonna look like a bonsai out there in the garden with those red leaves and with some amazing fall color. Some of the unique things about the new growth on Oregon Sunset is it can be heavily, deeply divided, almost like a Kamagata claw on some of the very new growth. But the mature growth actually looks more like a bloodgood leaf. So very different on the new growth versus older growth. But this is a tree that's gonna be a beautiful tree in the garden.
I love it, guys. You can put it on the East Coast. It doesn't have to be a Pacific Northwest plant. I think you're gonna love this one. I do find it to be extremely underrated. Once you get this one out, you're gonna love it, especially for the container garden. You kind of get a unique structure. I think more people should be growing this one in pots, kind of because it does a bonsai-esque shape on its own. Amazing fall colors though. Grab you one today, some instant gratification in these right now, some big sizes in Oregon Sunset.
Now, I do recommend giving it some protection from hot afternoon sun in some southern climates. You'll get the best growth rate out of it by doing so. And y'all, that was 10 of our 20 trees getting listed today on today's 10 at 10 on MrMaple.com at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
There will be another 10 trees. You got to sign up for that email. You go to MrMaple.com, say, I want to know about the secret trees. Tell me all about the secret trees. We'll send you a top secret email. You don't have to tell your friends about it. There'll be an email directly, discreetly to your computer. You can check that out and find out the other 10 secret trees that weren't even in today's video. Guys, those will be listed at 10 a.m. We appreciate you tuning in. If you want to get a gift for your garden friends, make sure to check out our gift cards on MrMaple.com. They're a great way to give the gift of gardening for Christmas. Those come directly to your email right away. You can either print them off or forward those on to your garden friends. They make great office gifts, and we really appreciate your support for small business.
Yeah, it's a great way if you're looking for a last-second gift that goes directly to your email. You can order on MrMaple.com, go to your email, print that off, and then you've got that gift in hand.
Like, oh man, I forgot Uncle Bob. Done.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy, thoughtful gift to give to somebody, is the gift of gardening through MrMaple.com. We appreciate y'all jumping in today. Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.